inspired classical Chinese paintings. Here, nature and civilization move together, perched above the clouds. This nation is a gallery of contrasts, each corner carrying its own rhythm, its own spirit, its own heartbeat. A country of stories waiting for those who listen. China breathes its past not through monuments alone, but through the people who carry its memory. The tea pickers who trace the movements of their ancestors. The fishermen casting nets as their fathers once did. The monks tending to ancient shrines. The artisans carving symbols older than most empires. The elders writing poetry on water in Guangzhou's parks. The pandas nurtured in Chengdu's bamboo forests. The Tibetan villagers whose chants rise into the mountain wind. Each of these voices forms part of the grand narrative, the human story behind the land. A land of contrasts, a future without forgetting. What makes China extraordinary is not only its storied past, but its sheer capacity for transformation. High-speed railways glide across territories once traveled by horseback. Tech empires flourish